Lesson 96, Graphing Quadratic Functions. A quadratic function is of the form f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. The c is the y-intercept. That means the point 0, C is on the graph. I'm going to show you some example, like the steps that you would do given a certain example. So let's say we're using f of x equals 5x squared minus 20x minus 3. So step 1, we want to find the axis of symmetry. So in a quadratic function, when you graph it, you're going to get a parabola. And there is an axis going right down the center of the parabola where it's a line of reflection. So it will be the same on each side. That axis of symmetry has a formula that we can use. And that formula is x equals negative b divided by 2a. When you have x equals a number, it is a vertical line. So it's going to be a vertical line right through the middle of the parabola that we're graphing. So in this case, our a is 5, b is negative 20, and our c is negative 3. So the axis of symmetry is x equals negative 20 divided by 2 times a, which is 5. So we have 20 divided by 10, or x equals 2. That is the axis of symmetry. Number 2. Step 2, we're going to find the vertex. So that vertical line at x equals 2, the vertex of the parabola will be right on that line. So the way we do that is we plug in the x that we found in step 1. So we have f of 2. We want to find f of 2. So we have 5 times 2 squared minus 20 times 2 minus 3. So we have 5 times 4 is 20 minus 40 minus 3. 20 minus 40 is negative 20 minus 3 is a negative 23. So that means we have this point 2, negative 23. And that is the vertex. So it's either the highest point or the lowest point. Actually, it's going to be the lowest point. So since a is a positive number, the parabola is going to open upwards. So this is going to be our lowest point. Step 3, we're just going that is find the y-intercept. And it's that c value in ax squared plus bx plus c. So we set up here that the y-intercept is the c. So our y-intercept is 0 and our c value is negative 3. So at 0, negative 3, it crosses the y-axis. And then number 4, or step 4, you find one point that's not on the axis of symmetry and is not the y-intercept point. So you find one point not on the axis of symmetry. We already found the point that's on the axis of symmetry, and that's 2, negative 23. So we have x equals 0, x equals 2. Let's do x equals 1. So we'll find f of 1. So we have 5 times 1 squared minus 20 times 1 minus 3. So 5 minus 20 is negative 15, minus 3 is negative 18. So when x is 1, y is negative 18. Then we're going to, then we will graph the reflection. Find one point not on the axis of symmetry and reflect in axis of symmetry. So here we go. We can graph our equation. So 5, we graph the things that we found. So we have our coordinate plane. So our x, this is our y. The axis of symmetry is x equals 2. So we come over to 2 and we draw a dotted line. So if we go down by 5s, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, so this is negative 5, 10, 20, 25. Okay, so then we graph our vertex, which is at 2, negative 23. So it's on the line, and we just go down to negative 23, which is about there. Then we graph our y-intercept, which is 0, negative 3. Notice that that is 2 points away from the axis of symmetry. So if we go 2 points away on the other side, we come down to negative 3. We have that point. Then we found 1, negative 18, which means we draw the reflection, and that's going to be 3, negative 18. And then when we connect these with the parabola, it's going to continue up on each side. It's got to go through that. There we go. The zeros are the x-intercepts, where it crosses the x-axis. So if we want to find the zeros, we need to find where it crosses the x-axis when y equals 0. So for this one, we could, let's see, we could plug in 0 for y. 0 equals 5x squared minus 20x minus 3. And let's see, does this factor, I'm not sure that it does. Let's see, 5 times 3 is 15. No, that won't work. Okay, so let's use the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Hopefully we have learned that already. So negative b would be 20 plus or minus square root, 20 squared is 400, minus 4 times 5 times a negative 3. So I'm going to add, because when we times by negative, this becomes a plus. 4 times 3 is 12, times 5 is 60, all over 10. 400 plus 60 is 460, so we have 20 plus or minus square root of 460. Let's see, let me do my math here. We have 2 times 230, 2 times 115, 5 times 23. So we have, we can bring out this pair of 2's. So we'll put the 2 on the outside, and then we have 5 times 23, which is 115. All over 10. Take out a 2. We have 10 plus or minus square root of 115 divided by 10, cancel by 5. So our zeros are 10 plus the square root of 115 over 5, or 10 minus the square root of 115 over 5. So that would be finding the zeros. Also, you can find zeros by factoring. So let me give you an example here where we want to find the zeros. So it doesn't say anything about graphing, we don't have to, but of this equation, y equals x squared minus 16x plus 64. So if we set y equal to 0, that'll give us the zeros of this function, and we have, this is a perfect square trinomial, so it's minus 8 minus 8. So we set each factor equal to 0, and since they're both the same, we just do x minus 8 equals 0 or x equals 8. And this has a, what's it called? Oh, I forgot. The number of times x is 8 is twice. So because there's 2 there, that means it's sitting on the x-axis at x equals 8. And we shall end the lesson